Welcome, everyone. It is an honor to be here today for this important discussion on the future of agriculture alongside Senator McConnell and Kentucky agriculture leaders. As the Dean of the Martin Gatton College of Agriculture, Food and Environment, and the University of Kentucky Land Grant Vice President of Land Grant Engagement, I have the privilege of working alongside farmers, students, researchers, extension agents, and instructors who are dedicated to advancing agriculture and ensuring its strength for generations to come. Agriculture cash receipts for 2024 are projected to near the 8.3 billion record mark set in 2022. This represents just a portion of the estimated 49.6 billion impact that agriculture has on Kentucky's economy. The economic impact underscores the critical importance of preserving our farmland and our farm families. Senator McConnell is providing a vital tool for keeping our farmland in agricultural production. By reducing the tax burden on farmers who sell their land to active producers, it not only safeguards the future of farming, but also supports retiring farmers transitioning out of their operations. It aligns with the values we long championed at the University of Kentucky: sustaining family farms, strengthening rural communities, and ensuring that agriculture's economies continue success in the Commonwealth. The college and nation are celebrating these values during Ag Week. Our theme, Together We Grow, acknowledges the strength and resilience that comes from our shared commitment to agriculture, which, as everyone here knows, is the backbone of Kentucky's rural communities, economies, and way of life. In Kentucky, over 90% of farms are family-owned. These farms are more than businesses. Their legacies passed down through generations, reflecting a deep commitment to the land and to feeding our communities. Protecting these farms is crucial. An essential part of this effort is supporting farmers with succession planning. With the average age of Kentucky farmers at 57 years old and approximately 1.3 million farmers nationwide now at or beyond retirement age, the need for effective farm transition planning has never been greater. Dr. Steve Isaacs, an extension professor in the Department of Agricultural Economics, has been a key figure in guiding extension agents and farmers across the state on this important issue. He has supported many farm transitions seminars, including one in Davis County, led by extension agent Clint Hardy. Clint will tell you that farmers are hungry for this information. Farms change constantly, often in subtle ways from year to year. Providing resources to help them navigate these transitions is crucial to preserving our agricultural landscape. The increasing competition from developers and rising financial barriers, including tax burdens on land transactions, make it harder for young farmers to access land and get started. Today, we want to thank Kentucky Farm Bureau for launching the Kentucky Farmland Transition Initiative. Their efforts directly support farmers facing these critical transitions, ensuring that farmland stays productive and accessible to the next generation of farmers. Dr. Jennifer Hunter, Extension Professor, serves as their college representative on this initiative. Together, we are growing practical solutions to preserve farm legacies. So today we have a panel, and I want to introduce the panel members: Eddie Melton, President of Kentucky Farm Bureau; Warren Beeler, Deputy Commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Agriculture; Matt Adams, who farms in Hardin County and was recognized as the Kentucky Farm Bureau Outstanding Young Farm Family of the Year. It's now my honor to introduce Senator McConnell, a graduate of University of Kentucky's College of Law and Kentucky's longest-serving U.S. Senator. Elected 9 times to lead the Republican Conference from 2006 to 2024, he's also the longest-serving Senate party leader in American history. Senator McConnell has served on the Agriculture Committee since his first day on the Senate and currently chairs the Subcommittee on Food and Nutrition, Specialty Crops, Organics, and Research. So welcome back to campus, Senator McConnell.
Well, thank you, Dean, and congratulations to you for your new job. And you covered what this is about today. I first heard about this from my good friend Eddie Melton last year. I had not really focused on how many farms we were losing. And so the question Eddie was wrestling with, and I think farm bureaus all across America are, what can you do to encourage farm families to keep the farm and not sell it to some developer? And so Eddie came up with an idea that I thought made a lot of sense, was to provide a capital gains tax as opposed to the larger, as opposed to the normal tax you'd pay. You get a capital gains treatment, which is less if you keep it in a demonstrable farm family. Makes a lot of sense. It's similar to another issue, which is not the subject of today, but related to this, which is how much of an exemption does a farm family get on an estate tax, trying to keep it into the family. In the 2017 tax bill, we were able to double that from 7 million to 14 million, which would basically eliminate most Kentucky farms from having to be sold at death in order to try to get it down to the next generation. That could expire this year. We're going to try to keep it at 14 so it doesn't go back to 7. You couple that with this proposal that Eddie and the Farm Bureau have come up with, and I think we begin to fight back against the loss of farms, which I really, really hate to see. And I'm glad that we're tackling this with some of the best minds in the country. And with that, let me turn it over to my friend Eddie Melton from Kentucky Farm Bureau.
Thank you, Senator. And it's Dean, thank you for hosting us here today. This is National Ag Week. I think this is quite fitting, and the first day of spring. So that's time, Matt, that we as farmers always look to at the first day of spring, that we can come out. It's a renewed hope that we have, and getting to be here today and talking about this piece of legislation that the senator has introduced is something that we've worked on for a while. To give you a little bit of background, our leadership team, and I've got my vice presidents here in the room with me and a lot of our staff, but sat down and we wanted to talk about what do we think is one of the most important issues facing agriculture right now. And as we sat down and talked about it, we talked about the loss of farmland, and there's a lot of things that we're losing farmland in. So we said that we need to look at this and see what we can do. So as we did that, we were talking about it, and the Census of Agriculture came out. The 2017 to 2022 Census of Agriculture came out. And it was astounding that we were talking about this and to look at the numbers that came out of that. In that 5-year period from 2017 to 2022, in Kentucky alone, we lost 6,500 farms, and we lost over 500,000 acres of farmland in 5 years. You say that and you think, well, that's not a lot. 100,000 acres a year. But it's about 290 acres every day in the Commonwealth of Kentucky that we're losing in ag production farmland. We don't think as an organization that's sustainable. About half of the U.S. farmland is owned by individuals that are 65 years or older. So there is going to be a transition that happens of some kind. So as we worked on this, we formed what we call the Kentucky Farmland Transition Initiative. We got Alita Botts to be our coordinator. She's been a friend of mine. She and I have talked about this issue for a number of years. And as we did that, we kind of had 3 things that we wanted to focus on. We wanted to focus on the awareness, make people aware that we were losing this farmland. We wanted to educate people, and then we wanted to get them hooked up with people, kind of a coordination piece between attorneys, accountants, people that could help with the transition plan. And then, of course, in Kentucky Farm Bureau passion, Senator, we wanted some policy issues with that we're always involved in. You know, we have a website on the Kentucky Farmland Transition Initiative, and that website has had over 10,000. We started it last April. We've had over 10,000 views on there. We've had about 4,400 people that we've actually contacted with it. And with our extension meetings and with Kentucky Farm Bureau meetings, we've had over 3,000 people that we have been in connection with to talk about this piece of important legislation that we've got. But not only important to that, as we started this initiative, we knew that we needed partners all across the Commonwealth and across the country to do this. So we started the Kentucky Farmland Transition Initiative Network. That network are our industry partners all across the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We have 27 industry partners that have signed on with us to take this issue and to bring it forward, that we want to protect this farmland. I can't say enough about Senator McConnell's leadership. He's been a partner with Kentucky Agriculture and with Farm Bureau for his entire tenure in the Senate, and he's done so many things for agriculture in Kentucky and all across this nation. There are probably too many to name here, but this piece of legislation that he's introduced now is something that can not only help agriculture and farmers in Kentucky, but it can help people all across the nation and all those farmers. Senate Bill 930 is called the Protecting American Farmland Act. It's a piece of legislation that we think is so important because sometimes people can't transition their farms within their own family. So they can transition that. Maybe they want to sell their land. And, you know, sometimes there's incentives out there and things that we can do. So we want a selling farmer to be able to sell that to an active farmer, someone like Matt, that's continuing to farm, that can farm that land into the future and keep that available to us. So this is something they can have an option with this bill, that they can sell that land, they can defer that capital gains tax, put it into a qualified retirement account, and let those monies grow over the future and then use those into the future as they go into their retirement. You know, we have to keep ag, and if we want to feed, clothe, and fuel ourselves, we have to be able to keep land in production agriculture that farmers like Matt can farm it and keep it going. So this initiative not only is something that can work on the federal level, but we actually have a companion bill that has just been passed in the Kentucky legislature. The selling farmer tax credit has been updated. It's passed both chambers, and we're excited that may be moved forward here. But it will be something that where a selling farmer can sell it to an active farmer and give them a tax credit also if they sell that to an active farmer. And actually, the legislation that was just passed there has a component for beginning young farmers that can do that. So we're excited about this initiative. We're excited about the bill and as we move it forward. And we're just excited that we can be here, Senator, with you and here at the college. And we're supportive of Commissioner Jonathan Schell. Couldn't be here with us today, but he is supportive of this initiative. He and I talk often about it. And his Deputy Commissioner, Warren Beeler, is here with us today. So, Warren, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Eddie, and good morning to everyone. I want to start by thanking Senator McConnell. You're talking about a champion and taking on something like this that's huge for agriculture, huge for the future of agriculture, not just in Kentucky, but everywhere. And then Eddie and Larry and Shane and the whole Drew and the whole Farm Bureau deal to shine a light on something that's we got a big black hole that's sucking farmland down in it. And at the same time, experts tell us that over the next, between now and 2050, we have to produce 70% more producing today in the United States. At the same time, we're losing 19 million acres of farmland every census, and Eddie told you how much in Kentucky. Then we have to produce more with less. How are we going to do that? The idea is the real secret is to stop the leak a little bit. Farming is different than pretty much any occupation you'll have out here. We eat it, sleep it, love it. How many of you, if it didn't rain today, didn't get a paycheck, you'd be upset? We put seed in the ground, pops up life. We watch a baby pig's being born or lambs being born or a calf being born, and it's life. For us, it's like opening Christmas presents. It's that kind of a situation. He told you we've got so many farmers and farms that are going to change hands in the next 12 to 15 years. Critically important that we have the ability to go farmer to farmer with that land and be able to keep it in production in terms of being able to feed this world, fuel this world, clothe this world, like Eddie mentioned. It's a neat time in agriculture. Never have we seen where we've done so much with so little and have that capability of continuing. But this is a huge step. And I mean, man, you talk about a champion. Are we proud to have this man take it on for us in terms of being able to help us get it done? I think ultimately in the end, our goal is to turn this land over to somebody like a Matt and Molly Adams, who are very, very special young people like that. On behalf of Commissioner Shell, Department of Ag, all the commodity groups, everybody, agriculture everywhere, thank you. Thank you both for what you've done and what we hope to get done in terms of getting this in place. Matt Adams, talk about special. I've known him since a little bit. He brought this gal in from California, and where's Molly? Molly's over here, and we're very proud of them. You talk about special farmers. They know how to do it, not only at high yields, but conservation-wise, sustainably. They're the best of the best. That's what we want to turn them over to. Matt.
That's a high bar you set there, Warren. I don't know if I can live up to that or not, but we're honored to be here today. My wife Molly and I. Of course, we own and operate Adams Family Farms in southern Hardin County. Our farm spans across Hardin, Hart, and LaRue. What's a little unique about us is we're first-generation farmers. I have farming in my background. My father grew up on a dairy farm in eastern Kentucky through the 1980s, and most everybody up here at this table knows what happened during the 1980s. We had a fairly big financial farm crisis, and that farm was sold actually in the early 90s. I was 4 years old. My dad had already started a career in ag lending and moved to Hardin County, where we're still at today. So that's what I grew up as a banker's kid, and watching farms and tractors around, and actually helping a neighbor on his cattle farm. And we had a unique opportunity there as I was graduating and looking for something to do after college. Was able to partner with that older farmer that I farmed with, and slowly start to take his operation over and to buy that out. Upon his passing, we didn't have anything formally set up like we've talked about a lot with this farmland transition initiative, but upon his passing, his family knew his wishes and his heirs honored those, and were able to work with us and sell that home farm there over to us and kind of in stages where we could afford it as young farmers. That's not the case with every operation out there, and that's what we're looking at addressing here. So, you look at, probably ask, why is that important to us? We're already, I'd consider us established. We're trying to grow, but this act is important to us just because, as in any business with agriculture, if you're not growing, you're falling behind. And we have 2 young daughters, 3 and 6, that are coming up and just live, eat, sleep, and breathe farming just like we do. And if there's going to be a place for them in the future, then we have to be looking at that now. So we're honored to be here again. And when Mr. Melton came on board, it was refreshing. I'd heard all my life and through all of my career that we need to get young people involved in agriculture. We need to be bringing young people back to the farm. But Mr. Melton and his team at Farm Bureau have actually stepped up, and we're doing something about it now. And that's important. That's refreshing to us and encouraging to us as young farmers. So we're hoping that this can go forward, and we're very appreciative of the senator and his efforts to help protect our future.
We want to thank the panel because you can hear the passion and the excitement about the opportunity that we see with this legislation. And we want to open up for questions from you who are here.
This one's for Senator McConnell, the news of the day. Oh, sorry. Senator McConnell, hi.
The news of the day is the Trump administration's plan to dismantle the Department of Education. I'm wondering if you support that and it'll eventually take an act of Congress. Would you vote for that?
Yeah, I think the way to look at all of these reorganization efforts by the administration is what's legal and what isn't. And they'll be defined in the courts. I can understand the desire to reduce government spending. Every administration, some not quite as bold as this one, have tried to do that in one way or another. This is a different approach that, and the courts will ultimately decide whether the president has the authority to take these various steps. Some may have different outcomes. So I'm just going to wait and, like all of us, in effect, are going to wait and see whether this is permissible or not.
Do you think it's a good idea or not?
I think it's a good idea to reduce government spending.
Thank you.
Senator McConnell, this is a question for you as well. You've spoken about tariffs, and we know tariffs could impact Kentucky businesses like agriculture, like bourbon. Where does it stand right now as far as your communication with the Trump administration about tariffs? Are there any updates from your end in Washington?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of tariffs. If you look at what's happening in Canada already, they're taking Kentucky bourbon off the shelves even before they necessarily have to, just to send us a message about what's going to happen. The bourbon industry has also frequently had tariff challenges from Europe. That's just an example of something that's really important in Kentucky. Second is agriculture. Do we, in the end, have a winner or a loser? In terms of who has the authority to do it, the president has, unlike the earlier question on this, the president does have a lot of latitude. So there's no particular legislative act that we could take to stop it. I think it'll be determined by whether the prices start going up, which is what typically happens. And I think the administration is hoping that's not the result, that it drives prices up. We've already got way too much inflation, principally because of the previous administration. So I think if you wanted to sum up my remarks, I'm not a fan of tariffs.
Do you feel like President Trump is hearing your concerns about how it could impact states like Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's much discussed, as you can imagine, in various segments are looking for a carve-out. It's very complicated, and all I can say is I hope it works, but I don't think at this stage it's good for Kentucky.
Okay, thank you.
Senator, on the bill that you're proposing, and I'd welcome comments from others on the panel as well. Can you talk about the need here? It sounds like this is doing a lot to try and retain a lot of the farms we have. Can you speak a bit about the need to recruit new farmers into this industry?
Well, I'm not a. Eddie's the one to answer that one.
Because I'm the young farmer? Is that what, am I the young farmer you're talking about? So,
They've already put enough pressure on me. Anyway, all of them.
we do need those young farmers. And I think we have to find a way that we can make farming more profitable. And the University of Kentucky does a lot of research, a lot of things. They work on beginning and young farmer programs. We have beginning and young farmer programs within Farm Bureau that we've got a whole team that works on that. So yes, we have to find those people. We have to do programs. This is a piece of it that, and we have programs that can help at the Kentucky Office of Ag Policy. We have Kentucky Ag Finance that actually has those beginning and young farmer loans. So we've got a lot of programs are out there, but I think what we need to focus on is trying to find a way that we can make farming more profitable, like Matt Adams here, that they can be more profitable, bring his young children into the farming operation with them. And if we can do that, people will want to farm because you can see the passion of people that farm. So we'll do anything we can to keep young farmers and people coming into agriculture. And, you know, the one thing that we have in agriculture that means more to us, the farmers, than anything is our land. If we don't have that land, we don't have anything to do. Whether you're a row crop farmer, whether you raise livestock, whatever you raise, you have to have that land to be able to do what we do. So what we're working on here is to try to help those beginning and young farmers and active farmers be able to retain that land that they can grow their operation, because if you own that land, you're more profitable than you are if you rent that land or lease it.
Hey, can I comment, please? Eddie mentioned it. One thing, we've slowed the age of farmers down a little bit in Kentucky with the ag finance deal a little bit because of our contract farming. Poultry barns, for example, but basically a little piece of land. It's not the land we're talking about, the deal. And basically it's low risk farming. You don't own the chickens. You don't have to worry about feed going up or chicken going up. You get paid for your work. We've seen a bunch of young farmers get back on there. We don't just need farmers in agriculture. We've got to figure out how to attract people, geneticists and scientists, engineers. How do we figure out the next technology that replaces some of the labor and those kind of things? But, oh yeah, I mean, the biggest need in agriculture is people, young people, attracted to all segments of it, whether it be the 1 or 2% that farm or the 17% that work in agriculture throughout, from all the way to meat case. So we're doing some unique things here, but what we're talking about here is keeping that land in agriculture. It's critical, absolutely critical.
Do you mind if I add one thing? I think this is the cascading effect of your question. And from our perspective as the College of Agriculture, we are trying to teach and train the next generation, and we do that through our students, but we also have beginner rancher programs that we do in the communities, in the counties, that help these beginning farmers get started in that passion that they have.
I can add to that just a little as well. So, you know, one thing, as a first generation farmer, one thing my wife and I always tell everybody is, you know, we weren't really given anything in our operation but an opportunity. And a lot of times that's all it takes to encourage people to be involved in agriculture, is that opportunity. And that's what I see when I see bills like the senators introducing here and the companion bill that we have at the state level, is that just provides opportunity for younger people going forward, and a lot of times that's all it takes. Then once you're in, you're hooked, right, Warren?
And this one's for Senator McConnell. We've had a handful of candidates either announce or act like they're going to announce for the 2026 race to fill your seat. Some of them are distancing themselves from you. Some of them are even attacking your record. I'm not going to ask you if you like that or not, but you're somebody who thinks about political strategy and effectiveness a lot and has a lot of experience in that realm. Do you think it's an effective strategy to either distance themselves from your record or full on attack it, as we've seen a couple people do?
Yeah, I'm not going to be running next year. I think the race will be about the future.
All right, folks, thank you all so much.